South Connection, and welcome to WWE WAR Wrestling Above Replacement. I am JT, and joining me as always on this project is my good buddy Marcus. This podcast is simulcast audio on all podcast applications, except for those cowards of Spotify, video on YouTube under North South Connection. And of course, we have tons of cool content coming at you each and every day. A lot of modern day content covering modern day wrestling, previewing all the big PLEs, recapping them with post shows, and then we have a lot of classic wrestling stuff as well. And this podcast is a deep dive to the history of WWE pay-per-view in a statistical style format to determine the greatest pay-per-view of all time. And it is also part of our No-So 95 stretch project, which we've been doing throughout 2025, paying tribute to the year 1995 in pop culture, sports, wrestling, and beyond. And of course, we are in the fall, heading toward the end of the year. So I'll be putting a bow on that project. And we also just put a bow on October, Marcus, which is, of course, Halloween month, scary movie month. And that means Jenny Smith was here with Freak Out Drive-In each and every week in October, even into early September. This year, like 5 or 6. If you like horror movies, check them out, audio or video form. Jenny did a plethora of them to celebrate Halloween October month. So be sure to check those out. Yours truly was on one, Return to Oz. Numbers through the roof. It's a great horror movie in the 80s. Have you ever seen it, Marcus?
No, I'm not a spooky boy.
It's not
horror
scary.
Movies are not for
I'm
me.
not a scary movie guy. It
okay.
is the least scary movie of all time.
It's more
but
I'm always down to listen to Jenny talk about scary movies. So yeah.
Well, you should check it out. Anyway, like I said, here on this show, we are going through the history of WWE pay-per-views. We're doing it in a statistical format. We have a bunch of categories where we break things down in, and we do it in a seasonal format. And by season, I mean we start the pay-per-view following WrestleMania in any given calendar year, and we wrap up with WrestleMania the next year. So this season we're doing right now, 1995-96. We started with In Your House 1, and it ends at WrestleMania 12 in Anaheim. And Marcus, we're kind of careening there a lot quicker than it may feel like. We're already getting toward the back end of 95 in the calendar year.
Yeah, we're hitting our midway point with SummerSlam 1995, which for me, like I remember faintly, like SummerSlam 1992, and I remember SummerSlam 93, and I remember 94. 95, though, I'm excited to talk about the show. I remember like all of the TV, like the full court press, the igloo, all the main matches, all the stars, as we'll talk about. Everybody kind of has their own special foe for the show as far as like the stars of the show. And then you have the one big star versus star match, I'd say, with the ladder match. And there's so much maneuvering around. I'm really excited to talk about the show. I'll switch it over to you, though. 1995, like, where are you at in your wrestling fandom? Where are you at in regards to the show?
Die Hard. Big Die Hard fan. I started watching in 90 and it just ramped up from there. And by 95, I'm all in. The interesting thing is I didn't really have a lot of friends that were also into it at this point. So it was kind of like me and like 2 other friends and my cousin. And even actually by this point, my cousin was pretty much out. So I only had a couple of friends that were really into wrestling. That changed a bit as we get to 96, 97. But so it's a tough time because there's no internet. So there's nowhere to really share your thoughts. So you're really just talking to like 2 people about wrestling, and really only one was like a diehard with me. The other one was kind of like whatever, in and out. So it was a lot of long phone calls, just like breaking stuff down, and a lot of me just writing shit in my notebook and reading magazines and watching this stuff, but no one to talk to about it. So, but I was all in. Like I ordered every show pretty much in 95, or went to my friend's house. He had the black box, so the nights I could sleep over there because I couldn't drive yet. To go over there. SummerSlam 95 was a summer pay-per-view, so I was able to go to his house and watch and stay over. So I did see this one live. Was definitely pretty into it. And I knew 95 sucked. But, who cares? We were young. We loved it. It was wrestling. And it was made what comes after over the next year or so well worth it. And we're reliving that in Wrestling Wars now, right? Me and Chad, we're in 97, summer 97. And I just remember the feeling as a kid at that point where like, man, I've been through the fucking wars to get to this point. You know what I mean? Like I'd watched so much shit, so much garbage. And like now Nitro's awesome. Raw's awesome. We got the internet, kids at school are talking about it more because it's kind of getting cool. So, but you had to suffer through this era here. to get to that. But we're going to cover SummerSlam in detail. Why don't we throw it to our producer, who's always with us here, not the toolman Tim Taylor. And I mentioned this podcast is simulcast. I recommend watching it on YouTube. It's a lot of cool graphics. We do a lot of stats, a lot of counting, a lot of lists. And Tim does some really nice graphics to help us track all that. And it'll help you track it as you watch or listen. So you might want to pull it up on YouTube if you're listening. If not, just keep listening. I don't care. As long as you're doing something with it, but interactive somehow. So Tim is here. He's going to read the rules of this podcast, and then we'll get right back at you diving in.
Welcome to WWE WAR. I'm producer Tim. JT and Marcus have taken on the noble task of finding the true answer to the age-old question wrestling fans have debated for years. What is the greatest WWE pay-per-view of all time? To find the answer, WAR looks to explore each and every pay-per-view using a plus-minus scale at a baseline average, where things above average gain a point and things below average lose a point. WWE WAR grades on several categories including match quality, build, commentary, atmosphere, notable moments, card structure, and rewatchability. The magic number to remember for WWE WAR is 2.5. That is the baseline number for an average replacement level match. Any grade higher or lower than 2.5 raises or lowers the average WAR score. For example, if JT and Marcus give a match a 3-star rating, then that match is 0.5 points above replacement. Add all of the totals up and you get your nice round number to give you your match quality grade. There's also a bonus. If there is a match that both JT and Marcus rate 4.25 or higher, or 0.75 or lower, that match gains or loses a point for either an all-time great match or an all-time bad match. By the time we're done, we will have composed the most comprehensive list ever for WWE pay-per-views to give you the answer of what is the greatest WWE pay-per-view of all time. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Mr. Tim. All right. I don't know. Hulk Buddy's down on the ground over there. He's not moving after that. I would put my wrestling buddy wrestling skills up against anyone in the world. I used to have 5-star classics.
Yeah.
I can sell. I can do it all with these buddies. I could put on a very believable 6-minute match for you right now. Probably could still hit that muscle memory and do it for you. A lot of buddy matches.
Oh. Man,
all right.
It's like the really fired up Razor Ramon talk with the thumbs. He's like in the middle of that.
All right, SummerSlam 95, buddy. Let's dive in.
Right.
Here we go. August 27th, 1995, from the Pittsburgh Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Normally the place that you would go to be put the enema if you were, or you put the hose if you're in the United States enema. 18,062 fans. That's a pretty big number. I feel like for 95 WWF, like. You know, they were running a lot of small dumps. They fill up a pretty big arena here. Face the Heat, of course, is the tagline. And from 1988 through 1994, SummerSlam was held on Monday night, except for 1992. Although it was held, Tim calls it air, right? It was held on Saturday from London, but it did air on Monday in the U.S. This was the first one that was on a Sunday night. And that's the case for all of 95 and then on. 95 took the chance to create their monthly pay-per-views, and they shifted everything across the board to Sunday nights. So we'll see it again with Survivor Series in a couple months. But SummerSlam was always that Monday, generally before like school started. I don't think it was ever Labor Day Monday. I think it was usually the Monday before Labor Day. But I remember a lot of times, like especially in high school, I started school usually like that Tuesday right after or whatever. So I remember 94 for sure. Had my first day of high school, like the day after SummerSlam. So it was always kind of bittersweet because it was super exciting to like have it, you know, at SummerSlam, right? Second biggest show of the year and everything else. But then it always meant like school was starting again. And it was kind of like, like you want SummerSlam to come, but you kind of don't want it to come. And then you were in that weird window of, it was the US Open. So like Raw was preempted a bunch. So it was kind of like August was always kind of a weird month for wrestling fans. I feel like it was a lot of change in the air as a kid.
Yeah. For me, it was always the end of either the first and sometimes second week of school. But usually the end of the first week. So it was like something to look forward to. Like, all right, I get through this first week of school. I got SummerSlam,
Yep.
but then it's like, oh shoot, like real school starts on Monday, where it's like that first week you kind of just mess around. And yeah, that following Monday was always a tough one because staying up way too late watching SummerSlam.
That 94 really sucked. Like the first day of high school, that's like a big jump, and to have to start the day after the show. Like, so you're trying to enjoy the show, but in your mind, you're just thinking, oh my God, I'm starting like a new school, taking a bus, like this bus, like, with all different people. It was very, very bittersweet watching the 94 SummerSlam. But 95, we're back on a Sunday for everything. So let's dive in. Let's get to our card here. And let me look quick. Do we have a dark match on this night? We did not. So we actually just go right into the show proper. Our opener kind of features the guys that have been our opening guys a little bit over the last few shows, and that's the 1, 2, 3 Kid taking on Hakushi. I like this pairing. I think it's a cool one. And it's as close as we get to like cruiser action in the WWF until, 97, when they kind of give it a shot at the light heavyweights. Hakushi had a bigger push earlier in the year. He's kind of been marginalized a little bit. This is really the end of him as a heel. He had already kind of started to turn a little bit with Lawler and stuff at King of the Ring, but it really kind of happens after this officially. And then Kid has been back from that neck injury, and he's a little bit in limbo, but he'll have a pretty big angle starting up soon himself. So this really just feels like, hey, these two guys kind of have nothing to do. It's two guys that can have a really good match together, kind of that classic SummerSlam feel to it. Like Perfect and Rooster or Martel or Tito and Warlord. These like random guys just are out there. Dusty and Honky. No real feud. And just say, okay, it's SummerSlam. It's two guys that are mid-card, and we're going to go out and give them a spot on the show. I thought it was a really good match. I went 3.5 stars. I think it's definitely a cut above a lot of the stuff that they had going on at this point. And it's kind of like, man, if you get a couple more guys in this mix, you could really – they could have been like having cruiser stuff before WCW even started having it. So I liked it. It was a good choice as an opener too.
Yeah, 3.25 for me. This is just like a Waltman special, like just a really, really great match for no real good reason. These guys go out there, deliver, high-paced, hard-hitting cruiserweight style action, which was not something you're getting from the WWF, like you pointed out. So it was a really refreshing match, and I think maybe not having a dark match, or at least not one that was documented, really helped this match too. The crowd felt was like extra red hot to get this match underway. So really good stuff from these two guys in under 10 minutes. Kind of a perfect opener. Probably a match that we talked about more is like a great opener. This one really kind of did a good job in attempting to set the tone for the show.
And there's not a lot of like openers at this point, right? So like as of SummerSlam 95, this may be like a top 5 WWE pay-per-view opener of all time when you look at this kind of the match rating and where they're at, right? Because you kind of got Bret Owen, Rockers Orient Express.
Yeah.
I don't even know what else. I'd have to look back at some stuff, but like it's gonna be up there. Maybe that 6-man at SummerSlam 91.
Brainbusters, Heart Foundation.
Obviously.
Yeah. Razor, DiBiase, depending on how you feel about 93. I like that match. It's fun,
Rockers,
but
Haku, Barbarian. It's probably like on par with that.
Yeah.
From 7.
Yeah.
So it may not top 5, but it's top 6, 7.
Yeah. Definitely notable. Next up.
I want to be that guy. I'm wrong.
All right.
I coach too many kids. It's like it become part of me now, and I'm trying to really avoid it. So I'm not the guy that officially kills it, even though it needs to die.
My daughter came home from school doing it, and it's like the first trend that we can both participate in. So I don't fully understand it, but I'm a willing participant. Yeah. She thinks I'm cool for doing it. Next up, we have debuting, at least here on pay-per-view, Hunter Hearst Helmsley taking on Bob Holly. Perfectly fine, acceptable match. I went 2.5. Triple H up with the pedigree.
Yeah, it's a fine pro wrestling matchup. Holly had his little resurgence here in 95. He's had a handful of pay-per-view appearances, so that's good. They're giving him some run out there. And yeah, it's Hunter. He was one of the lumberjacks at In Your House too, but this is his first match. And again, kind of a classic old school pay-per-view trope where they just give the new guy, a quick pay-per-view win to kind of establish himself. I thought Holly was a good dude to put over Hunter as a choice because they can wrestle a little bit of a quicker style, establishes the pedigree on pay-per-view as well. Doesn't overstay its welcome. And again, we're we're kind of doing an old school card build where we're doing a little bit of, undercard, and we're going to ramp up to the big matches at the end. So cool match stacking so far. Very random match next. It's a rarity, honestly. Post like early 90s WWF, I would say, to have a tag team match that's not either like a main event level tag match or a tag title match, like just to have two random teams not involved in the tag title picture having a match. The Blue Brothers taking on the Smoking Guns. The Guns get the win. Very random. There's no feuds to speak of. They just throw this out there. And we haven't even seen the Guns really on pay-per-view since In Your House 1 when they lost a rematch to Owen and Yoko. And I think it was really, I think, intended to like reboot them to get them ready to get back into the tag title picture in the fall, which I believe was their goal. So I think it's just kind of reestablishing them as competitors. Blue Brothers are fodder at this point. We haven't seen them since Mania when they lost the Allied Powers. So, and I think they're pretty much gone after this too. So 2 1/4, again, it's fine. It's a pretty good finish with the Sidewinder, but nothing else to speak of.
Yeah. I have a theory that the Beverly Brothers versus the Bushwhackers from Royal Rumble 1992 kind of killed any non-storyline tag matches on pay-per-view moving forward. But we do get the best version of the Smoking Guns here, of course, talking about Black Jeans, Smoking Guns, a little precursor of what's to come in 96 when I really like their work, when they're in the Black Jeans as well with Sonny. But yeah, this is I went 2.25 as well. Just okay kind of stuff. And like you said, they're just looking to get the Guns rebooted here towards the back half of the year to see if they're finally going to go on that run. Like in your memory, it's like, okay, you always associate the Smoking Guns with the new gen era and like kind of being the definitive tag team of the era. But
they did nothing in 93 or 94.
Yeah,
really. Like, and then 95, they at least kind of they were in the tag title picture earlier in the year with like, instead like that was going to be their time when they, won the belts in Kid and Holly, and then they went to Mania. But then after they lost them in Mania, it was kind of like that was it. So
yeah, they must have just always been on TV because it's still very much like the TV taping era. So they just must have always been on TV, even though if they didn't get the big run on pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think they're on TV quite a bit for sure.
Yeah, shape our opinion on that.
House shows too and stuff. Like I remember seeing them at different, like a lot of random house shows.
Yeah.
All right.
Up next, we have Barry Horowitz taking on Skip of the Body Donnas. I went with a 3 for this match. Of course, Barry Horowitz picks up the win over Skip. Really good stuff, and it kind of proves to me like here with Skip in this match, it's like they sneaky have some depth on this roster. It's just as far as like really good workers go. Maybe not the overwhelming star power that you think of when you think of WWF, but just 2 really solid workers here, and especially Candido being so gifted as a worker. So this is pretty entertaining. 3 for me, and they get a good chunk of time too. They get over 11 minutes.
Yeah, in 2 3/4, you get Hakushi interfering here, and this is really pretty much his face turn. He cost Skip the match. Him and Skip have been involved in this whole Horowitz stuff. So basically Horowitz, right, career jobber, never won a match, gets an upset win on Superstars over Skip. Then I think he lasts. So they do the 10-minute gimmick or something where he lasts the 10 minutes or something like that. And then they fight again here. My only qualm, and even at the time I felt this way, is I think Skip should have won this match to end the feud. Like, I know they do more with Horowitz after this, and they say, oh, he got an official contract and this and that. But like, I don't know. I feel like name aside, like Candido had promise at this point. Like he didn't really have a stink on him from like anywhere. Sonny wasn't like coked out or used in the locker room too much yet. Like she was fresh faced. It's like, this feels like a real, when you look at the landscape of the company and they're trending smaller with Brett and Sean, to me, this felt like a guy you'd really get behind. Like this should have been an act that they pushed. I know he's like extra small, but whatever. And then you look at like Hakushi and Kid, like I feel like they could have really built something up with like a smaller division. And a guy like this could have been a stalwart for it. And they just neutered him right out of the gate between the name and then this angle is like almost immediate. Like I think he debuts in May and he gets beat by Horowitz in like July or whatever. So it's like he's barely has any wins or his feet under him. And he's already losing to Barry Horowitz. So, and then he loses to him again here on pay-per-view. And yeah, you get the cute like Ross, Horowitz wins, and then Vince kind of recreates it here, which that felt a little bit lame too, like him stealing it.
Yeah.
It's kind of stupid, but I just felt like even at the time, I remember being frustrated. Like, Skip should have won here. Harwood's got his win. You can still do an angle with Harwood's getting a job. Like, oh, he had a real match and he had a tough loss or whatever. And I think I would have reestablished Skip as a threat because after that, he's pretty much nothing. And then they revitalize him a little bit when they bring Zip in. But like for the rest of the year, he doesn't do much. Brad Radford and all that crap we'll touch on a little bit. But so anyway, 2 3/4 for me. We roll on with what's become maybe a SummerSlam staple the last couple of years, a women's title match. They don't seem to get one on any other show, but we get one here. And that's Alundra Blaze taking on Bertha Faye. And Big Bertha for the second. Well, actually, no, sorry. Alundra won a SummerSlam 94. She loses here, though. Bertha Faye wins the women's title. She's with Harvey Whippleman. You always want to kind of think back to Bull and Alundra from the year before. And like, that's a really good match and they have good chemistry. This did not quite reach that level at all. And Ronda Singh's a fine worker. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with her. They just, for whatever reason, don't really mesh. I think Alundra's kind of on fumes at this point. The women's division, I think, still had some potential. We see that like at the end of the year before it dies. They just aren't doing anything about it. Like, it's still just Alundra and then whatever random woman happens to be hanging around for that year that she's feuding with off and on randomly on shows for like a year. And Bertha's the next one. Bertha debuted like the night after Mania and attacked Alundra. And like they're fighting now because they just don't put a lot of time and effort into it. Alundra did break her nose in that attack. I think it's when she has the nose job. But they still don't really put much time or effort into it. So I went 2 stars. Bertha gets the win in the title.
1.5 for me. Just the selling in this one is weird. It's like they do a move and they're kind of immediately up and getting to the next spot, and like nothing really has the chance to register. And I know that might be a stylistic option given their backgrounds, but tough for me to get into, especially given like the size difference in the match and the dynamics. I would want things to register a bit more. And then I think like Vince is like surprised on commentary that like Bertha Faye won, and it's like you kind of just like how can you be surprised that Alundra Blaze didn't win when you're perpetuating Bertha Faye is like this overwhelming favorite due to the size difference. So just inconsistent commentary from Vince, but 1.5 for me. So you had mentioned it earlier. This card really builds up to the star power, and we enter that here in like the last hour and a half of the show. To kind of kick off the back end of the card with the star power, we have the Undertaker taking on his challenger of the month with Kama. And of course, this is a casket match. Kama had stolen the urn, had melted it down. And this is kind of, I think this is the blow off to the feud.
Yeah, this is it.
Is there in your house match or no? No. There's not.
No, they might have like a Raw match. Sometimes they do like the real true blow off on Raw.
Yeah.
Sometimes like months later. So they may fight again on Raw in the fall, but I think this is it for pay-per-view.
Yeah. 2 3/4 for me.
On pay-per-view.
That's
like a
that's
dark
surprising.
Match. This is it.
Yeah. And I mean, these guys probably should have had a match properly as Papa Shango and Undertaker. Still upset that feud never truly happened. But we get it in a different version here with Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine. But yeah, 2.75 for me. Pretty decent stuff. It's not as slow and plodding as I remembered. Kama kind of knows it's his big opportunity on pay-per-view to work his buddy Mark from Texas, and this is a time where we're not really getting good matches out of Undertaker. So this one was pretty decent, all things considered.
I mean, if you look at it, Kama is probably his best pay-per-view opponent since Hogan at the end of 91. like you think of everyone he fought after that. Oh, Jake, I guess Jake at 8, probably. Yeah, probably Jake. Because after that, it's Kamala, Gonzalez, Yoko, IRS, Bundy, Mabel. Like, I mean, this is like, it's all trash on fake Undertaker. So it's really the best worker he faces since Jake at 8. So, and yeah, the gold storyline has been going for a year, right? Because DiBiase had the urn originally, then Paul Bearer brings back the new one. But then what do they steal it? A Survivor Series when IRS, is that when IRS steals it, or Rumble?
Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I think he fights IRS at the Rumble, right? And Kama steals it. Yeah, Kama steals it. Has it melted down.
Bundy steals it. Doesn't Bundy steal it? Or no? Bundy gets in there somehow because that gets to Bundy
He
and
fights
Taker.
Taker Mania. I think Kama takes it.
Kama steals it, and Bundy runs interference.
IRS may even have it prior to that. IRS may take it at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
We're doing the Chuck Norris stuff. I forget. And anyway, it's been like a year of bullshit with the corporation. The corporation Taker feud has been going for a year. This is the end of that finally too, because then Taker moves on to Mabel after this. So like this is pretty much it for him with the corporation. It's a casket match, so they try to hide the limitations a little bit. 2.5 to me, it's like perfectly fine. All right, next up. But that man takes on Isaac Yankem, DDS. Yankem, not Yankem. Yankem debuted after King of the Ring when Lawler had to kiss Brett's foot. He went and had his personal dentist, and just an absurd series of vignettes and concept and gimmick. And I get wanting to introduce Glenn Jacobs as a young star. You bring him up. He's a big dude. He has a pretty good look. It's just like the dumbest of gimmicks. Just have Lawler say, I'm going to go get a bodyguard to handle you, or, you know what I mean? Like do something like that. Like the dentist thing is all it's going to do is hamstring him out of the gate. Like I get that it comes out of a, it makes sense match wise, I guess, to come off of the kiss my foot, but like it just feels very like he's never going to go anywhere as a fucking dentist. So what they could have said is he could have been like, I'm going to get my personal dentist. But what he really means is just like a big dude that's going to punch your teeth out. And it's just like his muscle that he found in Memphis or whatever the fuck it is. Like, I think that would have worked way better than making him actual DDS with drill sounds for theme music and everything else. We do get a DQ finish here, which I'm not like the biggest fan of on SummerSlam, especially with Brett, but every other match kind of has a finish. And Isaac, is pretty new. So I think they want to protect him a little bit. So they hang Brett in the ropes, him and Lawler, and kick the shit out of him while he's hanging in the ropes. They do a blow off on Raw eventually in a cage with these guys. So it doesn't like go nowhere, but it just continues the misuse of Brett throughout 95. We're getting close to the end of that, but it just is like nonsensical here.
Yeah. Brett can't wait for Cowboy Bill Watts to come in and save him. 3.25 for me, and that's kind of my standard go-to for like if you're a great worker, you should be able to have like a great broomstick match, just based around the different bumps, signature bumps that you can do and your signature spots. And that's Brett's version of this match to me. This is a broomstick match. Jacobs is Yankem is decent enough. Yankem is a decent enough, decently athletic enough broomstick to be able to have a pretty decent match here. So this is probably like the floor, which I know we saw probably the floor of Brett at WrestleMania 11. But this is probably close to that. So yeah, definitely below Brett's standards of what he usually can do, but pretty good for a Glenn Jacobs match. So that leads us to the Intercontinental title match. And of course, this is the rematch from WrestleMania 10. This is the second ladder match between these two guys. We have Shawn Michaels entering as champion, taking on the bad guy, Razor Ramon. And there is some controversy over this match because this match is supposed to be Sid versus Shawn. And we get interim president of the World Wrestling Federation, Gorilla Monsoon, listening to the fans. He subs out Sid, puts the bad guy in, makes it a ladder match. A big act of fan service and probably ultimately a good call for this card. This is a bit of added juice that kind of makes this card like a can't miss. It's a big attraction that was kind of needed for the show. I know you had the casket match, but that wasn't getting it done as far as a special attraction goes. So letting these two guys go out there and just go out there and kill it again. Of course, now we know the backstage stuff about Vince kind of hamstringing these two guys that, hey, you can't hit each other with the ladders because of sponsors or whatever the case may be. But 4.25 for me. I know some people prefer this over the WrestleMania 10 ladder match. If I had to watch the two, I'd rather watch this one over the WrestleMania 10 ladder match, but I think the WrestleMania 10 ladder match just has a certain lightning in a bottle to it. But it's probably the same way I'd rather listen to Patience by Guns N' Roses than Welcome to the Jungle, even though Welcome to the Jungle is the bigger hit. So yeah, all-timer though, for me.
Yeah, I have it as a 5. I have WrestleMania 10 as a 5. I think they're both great. I think I'd prefer 10, honestly, to this, but I like it a lot. I do think they up the stakes a lot off of 10. I like that they're both faces. I think it adds a different dynamic to the match, even though Razor kind of wrestles it as a bit heelish, which I think is a nice flip from 10. The end obviously has a little bit of a botch, but whatever. It's a high level attempt, and Sean just didn't want to move that ladder. He should have just moved it. That has taken the extra second. Tries to jump instead of get the bell and gets pissed off. But yeah, this is a card saver. Like, they had to have looked at the card and looked at Diesel Mabel and were like, listen, we got to do something. Because imagine if they had Sean Sid. I don't know what Razor would have done otherwise. I'm sure he would have fought someone. But if you do Sean Sid on this card, that match has a ceiling of, well, I guess we see it ceiling in 96, but then we're not going to even touch that here. Like, I think in summer of 95, Sean Sid's ceiling is probably like 2.5. So it likely does not help this card in any way. So I think this was a really shrewd and smart move, and you end up with an all-time classic out of it. So it's different. They don't use the ladder as much, like you said, as the weapon for whatever reason. But at 10, they do. And here, that's what makes it different, I think, because they do vary up the spots quite a bit. They give it a lot of time to tell the story. Sean gets the win back over Razor from 10 here. And to me, it's another all-time classic for those two guys.
Yeah. A little bit of speculation. Do you think that Razor's, because we see all the stars here kind of have like their big bad for the show. It's kind of personalized to them. Do you think that would have been Dean Douglas? Because we see after this match, they kickstart that program. Do you think that would have started sooner and that would have been Ramon's dance partner for the show?
Maybe. And they do fight at 3 in Your House 3. And yeah, he's antagonizing them all night with the classroom lessons. The only thing I think they would have done is something maybe teaming with Kid against someone, but I don't even know who that would have been. Because Savio's not even on the card. Owen and Bulldog aren't on the card either. We see Bulldog later. Owen and Yoko aren't on the card. So you could have done like Razor and Kid or Razor and Savio against Owen and Yoko maybe for the tag titles. Something like that.
I know they do that match to death on Raw. They run it 2 weeks in a row. So yeah, maybe they burned it because they weren't going to do it at SummerSlam.
They don't run it 2 weeks in a row. It's Men on a Mission against Yoko and Owen. They do 2 weeks in a row. They do Razor and Savio though, I think, as well.
Okay. For some reason, I probably just watched it. I think it's Razor and Savio. They do 2 weeks in a row. Where like the match goes into overtime or something. Or
maybe. Why do I think I know they do Men on a Mission versus Yoko and Owen. I thought that went 2 wees. Maybe it is Razor and Savio. I'm getting confused.
I remember that because I was speeding in the neighborhood and I did like a flip over my handlebars on my bike, and I did like a 450, a shoot 450 off the speed bump over the rails and face to cement. And I remember going inside the house and then with ice packs all over my face watching Savio and Razor versus Yoko and Owen, but it was like challenge or something. It was like the replay of the Raw match.
And that's supposed to make you feel better.
Yeah. No, it knocked me right out.
Yeah, those are the only two I can think of. Something like that, a tag, or him and Douglas is probably gonna be the match, is my guess. All right, main event. It is the match we've been dreading since King of the Ring, and that is Diesel taking on King Mabel. Diesel retains. It's no good. I mean, they had to know it was going to suck. Like, they had to fucking know it was going to suck. I don't know what made them compelled to keep doing it. Like, they could have just done it in Your House 3 instead, or something else. You know what I mean? Like, run that friggin' all the title match here. Like, you could have done that here. There had to be something else they could have went a different direction. And I think it would have helped Mabel. Like, we talked about a little bit in Your House 2. Like, if they would have done more of a slow build for him up the card instead of shooting him into this place, it's a no-win. They're not going to have a good match. It's impossible for them to have a good match. And they give them 9 minutes to close SummerSlam after that fucking ladder match. Like, I mean, you're just putting them out there to die. It made no sense. I'm not going to, again, rebook 95 a million times because Aaron George and I are doing it on No Holds Barred on Saturdays here. Check that out. We've rebooked almost the entire year of 95 now. But you have options. Like, you could have slow burn Bigelow to here. You could have done Diesel Luger here, Diesel Bulldog, do Bulldog heel turn sooner. Like, there's options they could have done. If you had to do this match, I honestly I would have stuck it in the middle of the card. I just would have put it in the middle. Like Diesel retains at the end of the first half of the card, and then you end with Shawn and Razor at the ladder match. Like I think everyone would have been fine with that. Like Gorilla, fan friendly. We're not going to reward Mabel for his actions or whatever. We're gonna close with the match everyone wants to see, Razor and Shawn, whatever. No one would have complained. So 1 star. The picture you see that our producer Tim put up there is Mabel sitting square on Diesel's back, which injured his back. He doesn't pull the sit down at all. Mabel he'll limp along
Toes
a
up.
little bit. He will limp around a little bit through the rest of the year with this push, but this is all intents and purposes like he's done as a like main event level guy. Like he's got an upper mid card now for the next few months, but they had options. They could have done this at In Your House too and just done the Diesel Sid blow off here. Even that would have been better, even though it's like not much better in ring wise. At least name value, it's something. 1 star for me.
Yeah. Anytime you see the heels up on any kind of sit down splash, it's a shoot, brother. Pain, blues, and agony are coming. You can see Diesel react in real time, but he's in a bad way. Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't even look good. Like I can't believe Mabel did that. Like it doesn't even look like it hurts that much, but yeah, you can see the pain. 1.25 for me. This match just stinks. I love Diesel. I love Kevin Nash. I have a soft spot for Mabel, but this match stinks.
And his title run, honestly, since Mania now, it's not even his fault, but like the pay-per-views have sucked. Like the match have sucked. He's Sid, then that awful tag at King of the Ring, Sid again, and I'm Mabel. Like it's a real all-time bad run for championship matches. Like, and I don't even blame them. They're just putting them with lumbering dudes that aren't. It's just not going to work. So
yeah, and like Nash is a great athlete, but if Nash is the best athlete in your match, then you're looking at an uphill battle.
Well, we see 2 of his next 3 are really good because they changed the work, the quotient of who's in there with him. So
yeah.
The other thing they could have done is what if they do a Survivor Series, they could have sped it up and done it here too. Like that was an option. We wouldn't need to do Brett and Yankum. All right, so our total in-ring war score, 2.5. That's actually pretty good. I think it's buoyed a lot by the opener and by Shawn and Razor, but that's still on the bottom end of okay, right? It's not like bad territory like we've seen with some of the shows. All right, let's get to our other categories. Get to build. All right, here's what we gave points for. Barry Horowitz wins. Like, obviously, it was well built with him and Skip. A point for Bertha Faye attacking Blaze and breaking her nose in April. Been chasing her since. A point for Kama attacking Undertaker at WrestleMania. Steals the urn, melts it down. Cost Taker at King of the Ring. The creatures of the night are stalking Kama. Kama kicks the shit out of one of them on Superstars. That was a pretty cool bit. Beat the shit out of that kid. A point for Lawler and Hart. Still warring after 2 years. So a lot of build goes into this one with Yankum. A point for Bulldog turning heel, attacking Diesel on Raw. So we didn't talk too much about that. I guess we get into it. They do like a 6-man match, the last Raw before SummerSlam, and Bulldog turns and joins Camp Cornette. And the whole tease leading up to this, we didn't even talk about this, I guess, during Diesel Mabel we could have, but the whole tease is Bulldog going to get involved? Is he part of the royal plan that Mabel keeps talking about? Because Mabel's involved in that turn when Bulldog goes heel. And instead we get Luger coming out, and there's confusion now with him. Is he face? Is he heel? Diesel like knocks him out of the ring because he assumes he's heel like Bulldog. Luger comes back and runs off Mo. And it looked like they were going to continue Luger as a top face with Diesel. And of course he would leave and walk out and go to WCW. So we never see really where they were headed with that. But anyway, it's a good part of the build. A point for Mabel winning King of the Ring, attacks Diesel in Your House 2. And then a point for Gorilla Monsoon, we mentioned earlier, becoming the interim WWF president. Jack Tunney retired In Your House after In Your House 2. Gorilla steps in. He's interim until January. We'll get into the angle that then makes him official president at WrestleMania 12.
Oh. All right. Let's get into our cons for the event build. Skip and Hakushi made to look like idiots, stooging for Barry Horowitz. A bunch of random matches with no build littered throughout the card. Kind of necessary to get to star power at the end of the match, but still no build there for those matches. Michaels and Ramon, no build, just thrown together out there. Michael Sid, we get no big payoff for that, and it gets thrown away the next night on Raw.
And it's an infamous match. It's not the next night because there is no Raw the next night.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's a
the
couple
next
weeks
Raw.
later, but it's infamous because it's the one where Bischoff gives away the results on it's like the second night or whatever. Sean beats the big man with 3 super kicks. Yep.
And then Lawler bringing in his dentist, just silly business.
All right, so I guess a war score of 3 for builds. So solid build card. All right, let's get to commentary. We have a point for Vincent King. They do a good job keeping up with Kid and Hakushi. It's not a given with those two.
Mm-hmm.
A point for Vince talking about Horowitz earning a contract if he wins, kind of extra stakes in place for him. A point for all the excitement. They kind of match the crowd and the energy of the show. They are pretty excited throughout. And then a point for Doc stepping in for King after the Yanka match. And him and Vince do a really good job making the ladder match feel like an epic. They really matched the moment in that one.
Yeah. Real quick on that commentary, you wonder if because King of the Ring, they're in Philly, and as the show goes on, that crowd just gets more and more hostile. So you got to think like 18,000, huge arena, sold out, like that kind of energy. It's, the first time in front of a crowd that big easily in 2 months. So probably think commentary a little jazzed up just with the background noise there. For our cons of commentary, we have confusion over the Blue Brothers getting old real quick. Who's Jacob? Who's Eli? Can't tell the difference. Spot the different Nazi tattoos will help you tell the difference. Vince tries to pull off JR's Horowitz call, but feels a bit lame. Definitely needs to come up with his own as opposed to just
it was weak. It was weak to mimic the exact Ross call. They should have Ross come in for that match.
Yeah. Bring me as a specialist. Like, hey, JR, you've been following this closely on Superstars. Yeah, be on the call for this one. Terrible fat shaming for Bertha Faye by Vince and King. Yank 'em, not yank 'em.
I still don't get the joke. Is he saying it's like yank 'em and not yank 'em? Because like King constantly says it. He goes, yank 'em, it's not yank 'em. And he says it constantly. It's like burning my brain. I still don't understand it.
And it's so many Dennis puns.
Marcus, not Marcus.
Yeah. That's it for commentary cons.
All right. Score is -1. So,
all right.
Whatever. Atmosphere. We gave a point for the crowd being really into Kid and Hakushi to start. They're biting on everything in the match. A point for the big pop for the Guns when they beat the Blues. Like the crowd is fired up. Crowd's very hot for Barry Horowitz. We give a point for that. A point for Bertha Faye.
I love you.
All-time theme from this time period. Usual point for the Undertaker's entrance. A point for the crowd being with Taker, even though there's a lot of slower pace to it. Like they are all in on the Taker here. A point for the big pop for the Hitman. A point for the huge pop for the Heartbreak Kid. A point for the slim pink windbreaker guy in the front row. So we know this guy, right? He's at like all these shows going forward. He's pretty skinny and youthful looking here, though. He hasn't bulked up quite yet. He's not a high-calorie human just yet. Point for the crowd rallying with Diesel in the match, despite just being a dog shit effort. And a point for the Igloo in Pittsburgh being highlighted heavily. It's kind of a big deal. It's a new arena, so they're really kind of hyping it up.
Yeah. Let's get into the cons of our atmosphere. We got the crowd doesn't care for Men on Mission at all. No heat. Just being in the heat is just all right. Let's get into the atmosphere for cons. We got Horowitz using I'm not even gonna try to pronounce this. Thank you. As a theme, a little absurd.
It's so ridiculous. It's absurd.
Whenever I hear this, always a kid, it's like, oh, it's the Barry Horowitz theme.
I know. It's like, oh, you're gonna bar mitzvah? Yeah. Oh, Barry Horowitz is here.
Crowd heat dies with Bertha's squash win. We get a Yankum, not Yankum's terrible theme of just the drills. And then a night full of pops. The crowd is subdued for our champion, Big Daddy Cool Diesel.
All right, so atmosphere pretty good on this night. 7. Strong. All right, let's get to notable moments. We have a point for the debuts of Dean Douglas, Skip, Sonny, Hunter Hurst Helmsley, Bertha Faye, and Isaac Yankum Not Yankum. So that's +3 right there, maxed out. A point for Bertha Faye winning the women's title. A point for Barry Horowitz's first ever pay-per-view win. A point for Hakushi turning face and turning on Skip. A point for the first pay-per-view with Gorilla Monsoon as president. A point for Undertaker finally dispatching the corporation. It's been a year-long feud. Gets his gold back. Gets his earn back. A point for the WrestleMania 10 IC title ladder rematch. A point for the last pay-per-view before Monday Night Raw. The Monday Night Wars start. Nitro would start 2 weeks after this. So pretty cool little, actually the week after, I guess, right? The 4th. So pretty cool little nugget in history, the last pay-per-view for the Wars start. And a point for the true reflection and arrival of the new generation era. It kind of started, I think, a year earlier in like summer of 94, but that's like a lot of bridge. It really feels like after 11 where they flush a lot of the deadwood out and they bring in Yankum and Skip and Helmsley and like all these guys. Like this really starts to feel like, okay, this over the next couple of years now is like the peak of the new gen era.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting to the cons notable moments, we have Skip's career over before it even starts, between the name, the consecutive losses to Horowitz, picking him up during pins.
We didn't talk about that. Like that screwed him on Superstars. You picked him up at a 2, and Hard. He does it again here. Like, how fucking dumb are you? Like, just pin the guy and then beat him up. It's so stupid. It makes him look dumb as shit. Sonny should have booted him right there. Like, you're an idiot.
We get Luger's WF run ending with a thud. It triggers the Monday Night War a week later. -3. Big loss for the WWE.
It's an all-timer. Like,
yeah.
It just shows again, they just never really got behind him as the guy. And it's proof here. Like, all through 95, he's just sitting on the sidelines, pretty much doing nothing when you needed guys. And here he comes out. You could make him, like, give him a strong presentation to be involved in this whole thing. And he looks like a goof, too. Like, Diesel smacks him around. He falls out of the ring. Like, makes him look like such an idiot. And then, he leaves because of it and triggers the entire Monday Night War with his big debut on Nitro. So it's kind of an all-timer.
Yeah. And it kind of, like, unfortunately, like, changes the narrative on his career so much, and I feel like now as a smarter wrestling society we're educating ourselves more and just like how much Luger rocked. Like his 88 to 91 is so good, but like the WWF work, 93 to 95 just does so much harm to his legacy. Unfortunately, it takes him a long time to have that narrative change about him in his career. So getting into the rest of the cons here, we get the DQ finish for Brett and Yankum. Not needed. Yankum doesn't need to be protected. Hart needs to get away from Lawler. Not more of it as they keep this going. We'll see it eventually get blown off on Raw in a cage match, but that's still not for some bit of time to come. We get Mabel, as you saw if you're watching here on YouTube, injuring Diesel's back with the heels up splash. Bulldog doesn't even show up after his big heel turn.
That's fucking stupid too. Like, no Cam Cornette's even here. That's your big heel stable. That's been your top guys like Yoko, Owen, Cornette. Like, Bulldog just has this massive heel turn. It's like this show's like in a different universe than Raw. like Shawn Razor hasn't had any build. We get no Sean Sid. You get no Cam Cornette. Like, it feels like completely like separated from what's going on Raw at this point. Like, I don't know how you don't have Bulldog at least like show him backstage or cut a promo or Camp Cornette watching on a monitor. Like, it's so weird that he does that. It's like they just had to get through Diesel Mabel and then move on, which again begs the question, why even have it?
Of course, Sean's little tantrums when everything isn't perfect. Start the ladder match. He's got one most notably at the end of the ladder match, trying to jump, as you mentioned, for the title. And failing for that, slams the ladder. Just throws a fit for me. Definitely takes me out of the action. So we went -1 for that.
All right. So total moments score 3. Not bad. Some stuff does happen. Let's get some heavy negatives though. All right. Card structure. Let's see if it survives. This is usually the death knell for a lot of these shows. Point for Dean Douglas giving grades all night, pays off at the end when Razor smacks him, kicks off their feud. And so he pops in, he keeps giving grades on the chalkboard for different wrestlers. A point for starting hot with Kid and Hakushi. A point for the Royal Plan through line, kind of builds to the main event all night long. They keep teasing it. What'll happen with the Royal Plan, Mabel's Royal Plan. And it's nothing. Luger comes out, not even affiliated with him. A point for the non-title tag match, shows some dedication to the division, some rebuilding of the guns. A point for swapping Michael Sid with Michael Ramone. Big time panic move, paid off. A point for the casket stip. It's a nice addition for Taker, comma. A point for the card building to the star power and match importance. That last 90 minutes, you get Taker, you get Brett, you get Shawn, you get Ramon, you get Diesel, even Luger pops up. So you get like all the stars jammed into that last 90 or so. So it's kind of, again, like a classic card build.
Yeah. All right, let's check out the cons. No tag team title match. that definitely stood out on the show. We got topper heavy usage guys, not used, like Owen, Yoko, Savio Vega, who they just invested a whole pay-per-view in. Bulldog, Luger comes at the very end, and Sid just gets shown backstage watching the ladder match. So a lot of big names left off the show who they had invested a lot of TV time, like you had mentioned.
It's a common trend for 95. It seemed like they went in with a goal to that year to say, like, we're not going to put everyone on every show. That's where we're adding monthly pay-per-views. Like, in theory, it makes sense. Like, we're going to rotate a little bit, but it's your biggest show of the year, and you have half these people not on there.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think for your major shows, you want, all hands on deck, but the in your houses I get only be an hour and 45 minutes, but this is not that. Aimless feud match for Brett on the second biggest show of the year, and then we get a weak challenger for Diesel, fitting of it in your house Raw at best. The show needed a big closer match, and they have plenty of options left on the table.
Yeah I would have done Diesel Luger and just have it a year again. This would be the same story, I guess, as the Tonka a year earlier, but like, will he or won't he turn and join Camp Cornette? And you have Camp Cornette all at ringside, teasing the whole match. It was almost like a mix of like Savage Warrior from 92 with the Luger Tatanka storyline, and at least gives Diesel a quality win, and the match would have been better probably. Like, that's how I would have done it. And then Luger can leave if he wants. You just end up being a face-face match and they fight off Camp Cornette at the end or something. I think that would have been fine. Would have been a much bigger match on paper. All right,
and
so
you have Bulldog joining Camp Cornette. You could have had like the Allied Powers connection there too, like him trying to recruit his tag team partner.
I'm surprised they didn't do Bulldog Luger. I mean, I guess in their mind, maybe they were going to do that In Your House 3 or something, but Luger leaves. Like, I'm sure they were going to do it at some point. But all right, so points for card structure 3, so pretty good actually. We have a positive card structure. All right, rewatchability. Point for Hakushi Space Flying Tiger Drop out of nowhere at 95. A point for Peak 95 Sunny. Yes. A point for Yankum, not Yankum, and Lawler's beat down a Brett. It's pretty effective and different. They hang him in the rope and pound on his head. A point for the great intense promos from Razor and Michaels to tie in WrestleMania 10, last minute hype. They do a really good job, like kind of hard selling the match at the end. And then a point just for all the big ladder bumps.
All right. Our cons for rewatchability. Shane Douglas going from the franchise to Professor and PA. Alundra's look, just not it.
Awful. Yeah, this is just bad. Alundra. Like, I'm not saying she was like a pinup or anything, but she's got like the short bob. She does the nose job, which helps a little bit. Those tights are not flattering in any way.
Yeah.
Just like, this looks like your aunt that like chain smokes at Easter, like hanging out of it. Brings her friend by. That's what she looks like.
I can't remember if did she get the additional support while she also got the nose job, or was it just the nose job? I can't remember.
I feel like that comes later. I don't know for sure. It's definitely the nose job because the whole story is that Bertha breaks her nose. But just not a good look.
We also got DiBiase remains an impotent loser manager.
Impotent. So what a cuck. Like he just saw like he's pretty much been a manager for a year and has accomplished absolutely nothing. And his guys are a bunch of bums. He's done nothing since he started. Like, it started with Nikolai Volkov, and we're here, and he's made no progress at all.
Yeah, his best achievement is, we'll see later, he crowns his own champion.
Well, that was his best achievement as a wrestler, too. Crown himself.
We got Kama's slow plotting offense, and Luger getting punked out by Diesel like a chump.
Oh, he looks like such a chump. I don't know who looks like more of a chump on this show. Him, Skip, or DiBiase, the three friggin' losers on this show. Yeah. All right, rewatchability 0. I know we have one all-time match. We have Shawn versus Razor, obviously, so that's a point for the all-timer. And that gives us a final total war score of 18.5. Good enough for 64th all-time, Marcus. And so let me get a total here on the number of shows. So I think we're around like 143-ish, 143, 144, somewhere in there. So a little above halfway point. I would say that feels about right. I think when you look at the year of 95, the calendar year, this is usually held up as like one of the top couple shows, which I would agree with. Like, it does feel a little bit also like we're starting to reverse the bottoming them out. Like the decline from the golden era kind of craters at Survivor Series 94. And that year, that 12 months from Survivor Series 94 to Survivor Series 95 is really kind of one of their worst 12-month stretches, popularity-wise, in-ring wise, everything. But here's where you start to see like the defibrillator hits, the body shakes a little bit. Like Survivor Series, it kind of starts to rebuild, but it starts here. Like this is a pretty good show. It's a pretty good card. But still, if you rank all the SummerSlams, it's probably still kind of toward the bottom. But it does okay. This is about where I would.
It's not quite like last year's Pistons going from like 14 wins to 40 wins, but yeah, you can definitely see them pulling the nose up and starting to get out of the stink of the meat of the new gen era.
Yeah, I think Survivor Series 11 feels like a decent comp. It's kind of the same concept, kind of coming off of their terrible year of 10, 11, and 18. SummerSlam 18 is kind of forgettable. So it's like a good little company there. So
yeah.
All right, why don't we hit our top 10 all time, and then we'll get out of here.
All right.
A lot of SummerSlam. Speaking of SummerSlam, our 10th best show of all time, SummerSlam 2001 at 39.
Number 9 is SummerSlam 2015, 39.25.
Number 8 is WrestleMania 7, 39.5.
Number 7, Vengeance 2005 with a 41.
Number 6, SummerSlam 1990 at 42.
Top 5, Royal Rumble 2002 with a 44.
Number 4, SummerSlam 2005 at 46.5.
Number 3, WrestleMania 30 with a 47.25.
Number 2, WrestleMania 22 at 56.5.
And number 1, ECW One Night Stand 2005 with a 79.
Will it ever be knocked off its perch? We will see.
We'll see.
All right, we'll be back in 2 weeks covering In Your House. In Your Face. In Your House 3. Until then, everyone be sure to live your life above replacement level. Check out everything at the North Star Connection has to offer. You've been faced with the heat, face to face, feel the heat. We're out. Talk to you soon. 2 weeks.